Hello, this is question 10 from June 2022 Pure 1 paper from edexcel. You have a scientist is studying the number of bees and the number of wasps in an island. The number of bees measured in thousands and B is modeled with this equation, where T is the number of years from the start of the study. According to the model, find the number of bees at the start of the study. So at the start of the study is when T is 0. So if you see this T here is going to be 0. So I'm going to find that value. So 10, so for A, number of bees is, let me say, 45 plus 220 e to the power of 0.05 t. When t is 0, I have e to the power of 0, which is 1, so I have 45 plus 220, 265, and mb is the number of b in thousand. So this is going to be 265,000 bees, not just 265. Yeah. B, they say show that exactly 10 years after the start of the study, the number of bees was increasing at a rate of approximately 18,000 per year. A rate, every time they ask you a rate, you're going to find the derivative. It's the way of seeing how the rate of something or how something changes. So what we're going to do is to derive this expression and then find the value when t is 10. So we are going to derive the function in terms of time. Derivative of this 0, derivative of e to the power of something. Remember, I multiply this coefficient here, so 220 times 0.05 is 11, and then my function doesn't change, so I have still this. When t is 10, because they asked me 10 years after, that rate of change is 18.1369, something like this, yeah, which is 18,000, as they say. Then the number of wasps measured in thousands is modeled by this equation. Now I have a minus here, where t is the number of years from the start of the study. When t is a certain value, according to the models, there are an equal number of bees and wasps. Find the value of t to 2 decimal places. So at one point, this equation here and this expression here and this expression here are going to be equal. So I need to find t for that to happen. So I'm going to make that equal and see how I find my answer. So the number of bees is 45 plus 220 e to the power of 0.05 t. This is going to be equal to the number of wasps, that is 10 plus 800 e to the power of minus 0.05 t. And I need to find t from here. So I'm going to put the numbers together, and I have 35 plus 220 e to the power of 0.05 t minus 800 e to the power of minus 0.05 t equal 0. I think you're going to see easier if we write this thing here in the denominator and positive, because then that way it's easier to see what you have to do. So this is the same that 1 over e to the power of 0.05 t. So if you have to solve this equation and you have something in the denominator, what you're going to do is to multiply everything by that to get rid out of the denominator. So if we do that, we have 35 e to the power of 0.05 t plus 220 e to the power of 0.05 t squared, because I'm multiplying this by this, and then the last term is minus 800 because it's cancelled. Yeah. And now when you have your expression like this, you see that you have something here and something squared. That means that we are going to work with it like if it was a quadratic. So we organize it a bit, and we have 220 e to the power of 0.05 t squared plus 35 e to the power of 0.05 t minus 800. So this is equivalent to have 220x squared plus 35x minus 800 equals 0. So we can solve that as a quadratic. If we solve that as a quadratic, we get two values, which means that e to the power of 0.05t is going to be equal to those two values. The first one is 1.829. The second one is negative. Is going to be minus 1.988, which is not giving us any answer because e to the power of something cannot be negative. So this is not giving us answer. This one, if I take logs, I can say that 0.05t is ln 1.829, which means that t is going to be 12.08 years to 2 decimal places. Yeah, I'm just doing this with the calculator divided by 0.05, and it's 12.08 years. Where's the question? Here. And that's it. That's what we have to find. Find the value of t to 2 decimal places. Yeah, that's an each year, right? Yeah, that's all with this exam question.